niggas try me. Gotta have it on you in my city, shit was slimy. I love these niggas that was tripping right beside me. These bitches love a nigga who they is. Bitch remind me. 50, bitch I'm cut though. Nigga try to find me on the net, I send them gun smoke. Baby, did I tell you where them niggas from the jungle?
All right, what it is, what it was, and what it will be. Thank you guys for all tuning in for the second edition of the Tall Tales podcast. We got a legendary guest today in the house. This man holds many titles. I label him Bruce Wayne, the Dark Knight of the town, man. You know, with just the different titles that he holds. We got to my left, DJ Kun Love.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And then also, we have our co-host, my co-host, Ebony. Ebony, say
hi.
Go ahead and, so that's Ebony.
Hey, Ebony.
Hey.
So we welcome you guys. Second edition, man. Welcome back, man, for tapping in with us, the Tall Tales podcast. So we want to start off. So the thing that I go back to saying is, in order to know where we're going, we got to know where we came from. So I'm going to let this man introduce himself and start off with that.
Oh, man. So, well, first of all, you know, it's a blessing and a pleasure to be here on the Tall Tales podcast. I'm going to certainly like the branded water. Yeah, my name is Chukundi Salisbury. Many people in the community know me as DJ Kun Love. You know, Ciroc Boy Kun Love, Big Fella Blends, depending on what era you met me in or re-met me. But, yeah, so and I do a lot of, as you mentioned, I do a lot of different things around here. But that's me. I consider myself just like an ambassador from the town.
Most definitely.
Yeah, just in a lot of different lanes. But, you know, one of my hashtags is the lane maker.
The lane maker, I like that.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm the lane maker.
Or the new lingo is multi-hyphenate.
Yeah,
this man is doing a lot.
So let's highlight some of these titles that this gentleman has, okay? So CEO of Seaspot Media Magazine, founded in 1998.
Yeah.
20 years plus trails coordinator for the Seattle Parks Department. Urban Food Systems Manager.
Did that, yeah.
Recreation Center Coordinator at the Garfield Community Center.
Yeah, I did that.
You attended Elizabeth City State University in North Carolina.
Yeah, Viking Pride.
Okay. Member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity.
Yes, sir. Go Mob.
The co-author of comic book Little Big Man.
Yeah, Little Big Fella, yeah.
Little Big Fella, I'm sorry about that. A
Right
comic
here.
book that helps start discussions and really help children process issues of race and racist police brutality.
Right, yeah.
And this comic book is based in the south end of Seattle.
Well, the CD, the pizza parlors are Yesler.
Okay.
So
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, well, they're the Beacon Hill Tigers.
Beacon Hill Tigers,
so it's just
okay.
Seattle.
Seattle, okay. Most
Seattle,
def. And so, and in 2020, Kun was a candidate for state representative in the 37th district.
Yeah, ran for office before. That was big.
Okay. So, a founding director of Youth Green Corps.
Yeah, youth employment, green jobs at Seattle, City of Seattle.
And then your nonprofit, so we got the nonprofit is
Service is a Lifestyle.
Service is a Lifestyle,
Yeah.
which also transfers into the Black Legacy Homeowners.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a branch
Yes.
of your nonprofit, right?
Yeah. So our three programs is Black Legacy Homeowners, Herb Vote, and 100 Black Parents.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about that, the Black Legacy Homeowners?
Oh, sure. You guys want to talk about that? I mean, so that's a huge thing I'm working on right now. I appreciate you for bringing that up. So blacklegacyhomeowners.org is where you can find out more information about that initiative. But, you know, basically the premise of that entire organization is that we oftentimes as black people, just homeowners in general, but most certainly black people, because we are the first ones to get impacted and gentrified, if you will, is that people try to come and bamboozle us out of our homes, right?
Absolutely.
They try to come and say, hey, we'll give you this amount for your home, knowing that that's not what it's worth, hoping that you'll like fall victim, right? Mm-hmm. And so with Black Legacy Homeowners, we're on the other side of that. And so we formed a network of Black Legacy Homeowners, and we are the opposite of that. We go to people's homes, we knock on the door, and we say, hey, guess what? you should stay in your home, and what do you need to stay?
Most definitely.
Right, and so for some people that are on the edge, if you will, or they need immediate assistance, that's things like home foreclosure assistance, like the HAF fund, which can get you up to $60,000 to help pay down your mortgage if you're behind. Right, there's other people like seniors that may need repairs to their homes and they just don't have the money. Right, there's programs to help them. There's other programs that can help people on their utilities. Right, so there's a lot of programs that can help people who are on the edge, because oftentimes we make poor decisions when we're underwater. Right, you're getting all the bills in the mail. You're getting all of you behind 3, 4, 5 months on your mortgage. They're talking about foreclosing on you, and you just can't see a way out. And then what happens? Somebody knocks on your door, and they say, oh, I can make all that go away. And you have $1 million house in the CD or $1 million house in Skyway, and they say, well, I can make it all go away. I'll give you $400,000 right now. Right? And some people, they just can't see their way out, so they go for that. And so we're on the flip side of that. We're saying, hey, look, you're behind on your mortgage. We can help you pay it. We want you to stay. Right? So that's what the Black Legacy Homeowners is all about. It's also about engagement and empowerment and education about ways to transfer generational wealth. A lot of black people, or a lot of homeowners in general, but most certainly black people, they may have a will, but they don't have a trust. One of the things about a will is a will can be challenged, right? A lot of people don't know that, right? And then people, or if you don't have a will, it could go to probate, or there's a lot of things around losing your property or when Big Mama passes away, right? So what we want to do is help people do estate planning so they can put their property in a trust, so they can tell exactly, hey, this is how I want my kids to be able to have the house, or I want my grandkids. Nobody can sell it, only a grandkid can sell it. Like, there's a lot of things you could say in a trust that you can't necessarily say in a will, right? And so on the one end, we're connecting people with immediate resources, right? And then on the other end, where it's a lot of people that, they're well off, they don't need any help on their mortgage, right? But they do need to be educated around ways that they can keep their generational wealth. So that's what we're doing with Black Legacy Homeowners.
Message. That's a message. One more time with the website.
blacklegacyhomeowners.org.
Yes.
Most def. So with the changes in the Seattle Central District area, how did the gentrification process that the area went through affect you and your family being residents from the Central District?
Well, you know what? I would say, so first of all, we never really owned a house, right? So in the way that it affected me is that we saw many people move away, right? So you had, when I was younger, you have such and such, and we would all be playing, instead, you hear that their grandma died or something happened, and all of a sudden now they live in Kent, right? Because so we didn't really know why and what was going on with that, but often, years later, you would find out that, when grandma died, the uncle sold the house or something like that. So that's how gentrification, affected me. And I kind of, again, I drank the Kool-Aid like most black people and people of color in Seattle have drank. And most certainly gentrification is a terrible thing. And people have been bamboozled out of their property, right? But as I was telling Ebony earlier off camera, with gentrification, most of the black people in these homes that I would say in the CD of Seattle, we lost our homes because we sold, not fully knowing the value, right? We did not sell under duress. At the time, we thought we was getting a deal.
Financial literacy is just so important.
Yeah, it was financial literacy, right? And so, so of course, I'm sad. But the other part that I would bring up around gentrification is that there's a lot of people left, right? So don't, as we go out and knock on the doors and actually talk to all of these residents, there's a lot of black people that still own homes. It's people, I met a lady the other day, she in fact lives out in wherever it was, Shoreline or Berrien or Des Moines or something, but she owned 3 houses in the central area. And she's written those out because, that's a lot of money. It's all these Amazons and people that want to live in the CD. She's like, okay, well, I'm going to go live over here and rent those houses out to these people that want to pay all that money. So there's a lot of things going on with it. But all I would say is that while a lot of people were gentrified through historical harm and redlining and all these other different, pieces unable to get the right type of loan to fix their house, if you will, right? A lot of those things did happen, and they are still happening. That has impacted and displaced our community. However, the overwhelming majority of our homes that have been sold over the years that have displaced us, we have displaced ourselves because we didn't have the right instruments in place, right? And we sold the house not under duress. We knew fully what we was doing, right? And now we sad that we did it. And until we kind of own that part, our part in this, and we just can't continue to just say, well, the white man took the CD.
Correct.
That's not true. That's not all the way true. You see what I'm saying? So that's how it impacted me.
Most def. So I want to go back a little bit. So you were born and raised. Where did you start off at? Central District, right?
Yeah. So I actually came to Seattle at 5. So I consider myself a true Seattleite, right? But I was born in California. We came up here. Okay. I'm old school. I came over here.
What part of California?
L.A.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so, but I went to, I went to Leshaw. I went to St. Mary's. So of course, I went to Garfield, right? I went to Summit K-12 at the old Coleman building there, right? So I am from the Central area originally. Yeah, most certainly.
But not just the Central, man, because when I first met you, man, it was in the South, into Seattle,
right?
And I see you everywhere. Man, what's crazy is, man, like what I could say about you, holding all these titles and how invested you are in the community and whatnot. You're really outside with it, man. like the last time I seen you was at the 50 Cent concert?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so you know what so one of my hashtags, cats can follow me. I'm on Instagram at KUNLUV, right? One of my hashtags is Northwest Icon, right? Even though I'm from the Central District and I'm most certainly, rooted, in the CD. I most certainly consider myself a Northwest, icon.
Yep.
I could touch down in any city.
Yes.
I've done parties across this entire region, from Boise out to Billings. Portland. I got an office in Portland. I be in Northeast Portland riding around. I can go into any bar out there, and they're like, "Yo, welcome up." Well, welcome.
Yep.
I do Black Santa and Tacoma.
Right, we didn't talk about that.
Right, so I'm all in Tacoma, at Southern Kitchen doing Black Santas, and it was funny, right? To that end, I got named a Tacoma Man of Honor by Ford, right? And there was some people from Tacoma that's like, yo, he's not even from Tacoma. And I just had to
But he is, though.
Well, I had to challenge the cat that was saying that, right? And because the award, if you was about, your service to the community in Tacoma.
Yeah.
And I had to point out, look, I done gave away all these books in Tacoma. I do Santa every year. I've had all of these parties and engagement in Tacoma for decades, right? And so most certainly some people felt as though they nominated me, right? It's not like that came out of nowhere.
You definitely have a presence.
Yeah, somebody from Tacoma nominated me to be a man of courage for Tacoma, right? And I most certainly accepted it.
And that's big in itself.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, South is CD. I transcend
Everywhere.
all of that. And like I said, I just try to bring love and bring people together, and every opportunity when I hear somebody say CD South End or Seattle, Central District versus Hilltop, right? I'm good wherever I touch down.
That's like
Seattle
me.
versus Portland back in the day, it used to be a whole beef. I go to the Hilltop and walk around right now. I know them Crips and all of that, and they, yo, what's up, cuz?
Most
right?
And
so,
Talk that talk, cuz.
I was always good. And so, and people don't, the majority of people don't want no problems, man.
Exactly.
And it's like 50 said, if you get money and you're taking care of your business and you show people love, you're going to always have love wherever you go.
Correct.
Most definitely.
Correct.
So I want to ask you some other things. So Def Jam. You had a time that you worked for Def Jam. Can you highlight about that a little bit?
Man, shout out to my man Rob Love. It was crazy because one day, I was just chilling at the crib and I got a call from Rob Love.
What time was this? What year?
This was what was this? This was like 90. Yeah,
like early 90s, like mid 90s. We'll say mid 90s.
Like mid to late 90s, like 99, 98, right?
Yep.
So and then the early 2000s, right? So it was prior to that. It was like mid 90s, right? So because we was working, we was working on all the Jay-Z projects. We was working Method Man, Redman. Like, I actually wore the, me and Teezy, we wore the Redman suit.
Man, shout out Teezy, man.
Yeah, to Summer Jam before, right? Like, so I was the Def Jam. I tell my son about this all the time, man. I really miss the day. I don't miss paying all of that money for music, right? Because one of the things about back in the day, for the young people watching this, they were like, really? Right?
Well, unless we had LimeWire.
Albums used to cost like $16.
Man.
Right? But
don't let it be a double disc.
Yeah, but within that $16, everybody was eating, like the street team would eat. Right?
Yep.
And so we was the team for the Northwest. I had Def Jam Northwest, and so we did all of the record promotions for, Seattle and most of Portland. And, we were in charge of basically getting the product out to all of the DJs. We were the ones that put up the posters. Whenever the artists would come to the market, like back in the day, I know the internet, these kids don't even understand. We used to have real record stores, and your favorite artist would come to the record store.
ARS.
Yeah, and sign autographs, right? And they would, and so, or they would come to the market, and if they didn't do a public appearance, they most certainly came to the radio station, and they most certainly had a dinner with all of the DJs. I was showing Ebony a picture of me and Kanye West from one of the dinners we had with him when College Dropout came out, right? So I was the one that was in charge of seeing what DJs and tastemakers would be there. And so it was a great position to be in because, obviously, the label's like, yo, we just want the top 20 guys there or the top 20 DJs. We don't need everybody. And so that 21st and 22nd DJ who would see the pictures and see, later on that we was in there chilling with Kanye or whoever, right, Meth or Redman or whoever was here, Ghostface, right? They would be so upset that they didn't get invited. But I'm like, dog, get your weight up.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. So, there's levels to this.
Yeah, there's levels to this.
I want to ask a question. We've gotten into the topic of DJing and artist. What sparked your interest to being a DJ?
Wow, you know what? So to tell the truth, and there's a couple of types of DJs, right? I was never like the production DJ. Like shout out to like my man Vita, right, or Jake One, and those type of DJs that create, right? I was always from day one a party DJ. So I DJ'd in college. I used to carry records from my big brother Ren 10. He was the guy. I came up under him in Elizabeth City State University, and we used to call ourselves the 1010 Posse. That's how we are, right? And I used to carry his records, and and his rule was as long as you can carry the party, I'm not going to take you off. And so obviously when I first started DJing, I played one record, people booed me. And that was that, right? But then over time, I got better and better and better to where I was doing almost the whole party, and Ren would just come in and close it. And then when he graduated, he was a year ahead of me. Well, actually, I missed some classes, so I ended up graduating. He wasn't a year. We came in at the same time, but I stayed an extra year. He left me with all the equipment and half the records, right? So back in the day when wasn't MP3s, you had to go to the record store and actually buy the single, right? Yeah. And every good DJ, you had 2 copies because you wanted to needle rock, right? Well, you wanted to needle rock, bring it back, right? It wasn't no electronic button to push, to cue it in. If you wanted to rewind a song, you had to needle rock and bring it back, right? So all good DJs had 2 copies of the record. And what Rennie did, which was kind of unheard of, to give me half the records and said, so I stayed at school and I DJ'd and I was kind of like king of the campus and did all that. And then when I came home, I still had records and I had one turntable and I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep DJing. And so I came home, but I most certainly was not like it was a rude awakening because I was like the king of the campus where I went to school at. But then when I came home, I was not even a top guy. I didn't really have all the equipment, right? I was kind of like on what was that movie, House Party with Kid and Play. I was like
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, I was like Martin Lawrence. I didn't even have a car, so I had to have my mom take me to the parties. I had to borrow some equipment, and everything. And so I just tried to, make it happen. But then, so shout out to my man DJ Supreme. I used to borrow his. Supreme. Yeah, I used to borrow his turntable, and I would work with him. And so I would have 2 turntables and do my thing in the parties, right? But I think then eventually I just really said, okay, I'm going to go hard on this DJing for real. And that's when I came out with my mixtapes called Big Fella Blends. And I had posters and everything. And I really went hard and marketed it myself to just become, that was my goal, to be the #1 guy.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And eventually I became the #1 guy, you know.
Yeah.
But I in some people's mind. But what I would say, right, one of the things that allowed me to transcend and keep DJing is I never wanted to, I just wanted to be in everybody's top 5.
Okay.
I remember the top 5. Your top 5. Shout out to if there's a will, there's a way.
Yes,
most
yeah.
definitely.
Most doubt,
That sounds like what that was. You had the will to keep doing it.
Well, yeah, and
Either
then
way.
it was just, you know, again, back then it wasn't, you couldn't buy no likes, you couldn't, you know,
No,
you couldn't
Absolutely.
buy no followers.
Had to
and
work for
nothing.
everything.
You had to really
Work.
be in the
Yeah.
streets, right? And so what I did is I really flooded the market with the Big Fella Blends mixtapes.
Yeah.
I was everywhere with them. And then once I got my own duplicator, shout out to my man B Mello, he used to have the duplicator. And he used to dupe up everybody's tapes. Me, Topspin, a lot of cats, we all had tapes out, but we didn't have our own duplicator.
Okay.
So everybody had to go to B Mello to get your tapes duplicated. But once I flew to Philly and I bought my own duplicator,
Okay.
right? And once I got my own duplicator, it was a wrap, because then I would just sit up like I was selling crack, you know what I mean? And I would sit up all night,
pressing
it up, and I would have
labeling.
stacks, and
Yeah.
then I would just be out, and so of course I used to try to sell. I would sell a lot of mixtapes, and I was getting a lot of money. But when you see a young cat, somebody that's 15, 14, right? They got their Walkman, right? That's how old I am, right there. You know what I mean? Or they
Right.
had.
Hey, you want to make some extra money?
Well, no, it wasn't even that. I used to
Okay.
give those content because
Okay.
that's how you know, MC, you know, and I think that's lost on a lot of artists, right? You want to take anybody that was young, because I was like, okay, I knew that I wasn't like a top guy to my peers, if you will, right?
Yeah,
like the top guys at the time.
You were just coming.
I was
working your way
always
up.
worried about
Yeah,
young
yeah.
people,
Yep.
right? And so,
Yeah, that's
because
smart.
young
Yep.
people is the next. These guys, everybody's not gonna be on forever. So I was always.
Yep.
So I would give a lot of tapes away. If I seen, you see a bunch of teens right here on the bus, you give one of them the tape,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and let them run.
Go
with
ahead
it.
and listen to this. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
And so I was on my promo back then, man, and it really paid off.
It sure did. Look at you, all your accolades. Let me ask, since we're talking about that, let me ask this next question. And then
Right.
back to Marcus. So rewind back to when you were in middle school. What is teenage Kun listening to?
Ooh, I like that.
Oh
I like
man,
that.
that's so crazy, right? So I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. Like, so in middle school, I was at Summit, and we was all over the place in middle school. You gotta think that. So I mean,
This is 80s, right?
oh yeah, this is like I was
Mid
in
80s.
early 80s.
Early
I mean,
80s,
middle
okay,
school,
okay.
I was, that's like 1983. You gotta
Yeah.
think it was just.
So everybody's break dancing,
Well,
beatboxing.
no.
Yeah.
So like hip hop really hit Seattle like in '84, right? And so that was kind of the start of high school for me. But but middle school, it was still a lot of pop. It was like Duran, and I mean you had all kind of different. It was really a mixture.
Yeah.
Right, and then hip-hop.
MTV was really flooded
Yeah,
too with the
MTV.
grunge,
So
the
we
rock.
was listening to all of
yeah.
that, to tell the
Yeah,
truth. I'm not
yeah.
even gonna lie. Some people they be like, "Well, what was it like?" Right, and
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it real. We was listening to all
Everything.
types of music, Billy Idol.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I know,
Yeah, you
great.
know what I'm saying? Pat Benatar,
Yeah,
right? It was
yeah.
all of that. But then when Rapper's Delight hit, that's what really. But Rapper's Delight was just one hip hop, a rap record, right? And then so we was getting things, but then as the 80s progressed, in like 1984 and 85, and then like Sucker MCs and Run DMC came out. So that was more of like early high school Kun, right?
Yeah.
So that's when, to me, hip hop really started hitting, and that Run DMC,
Okay.
and then
So
of
it was
course,
high school for you.
yeah, and then
You was
LL
listening.
and all of that, and then by
Yeah.
the time high school, it was so many, the Eric B.'s and Rakims. That's all like 1986. 1985. Again, you had like the Pee Wee Herman, and it was so many hits, man, and we just had we had a lot of fun back then. You know what I mean? And what was crazy about that is, I was telling my son the other day that hip hop was so aspirational now. And it was okay, like, and what kills me about a lot of these people, they get so upset. They tell me, "Oh, you rapping about stuff you ain't even did." we all rapped about stuff like hip hop. We was all poor, and we was rapping.
It's imagination.
It was imagination, right?
Exactly.
So when Spoonie G was talking about the backseat of his car, like this and that, he didn't really have
not
at
that time.
And so you got to ask yourself,
in his mind, he might have.
did the special ed really have 64 sprees? Did he really have a treaty with Tahiti because he owned the percent? Think about that, right? Think about that, right? But now, you know, these cats, they rapping, oh, that's cap. You ain't got that. That's cap. That's cap. It was more of just aspirational. You had Slick Rick telling stories, and you talking about a lot of
picture.
It was
artistry.
It was what we wish we had. And then now the corporate and the money took over, and we actually got it. Years later,
there it is.
I went to the Cash Money Mansion in New Orleans, and I was sitting there, and Birdman showed us, Manny Fresh showed us the Jeep where, I don't know if you remember that saying, he had a song and he said, I got a TV where the horn go, right? And he showed it the truck, and it was literally a TV where the horn go, right? And I thought to myself, wow, you know, the game has changed so much that people actually have the things they talk about. And when we was talking about murdering somebody on the beat, like back in the day, it was like lyrically. But these cats is really talking about riding up on an op, and I'm gonna pull up on the op and this and that. They're really talking about real violence, and it's just so that's a whole thing. Right?
And it evolved, you know, from back in the day when they were doing that to the evolution into gangster rap, you know, and really street cats coming in and saying, man, while we on the block, man, we rapping, you know what I'm saying? We keep him busy or something and whatnot, and then it turned into an industry, and then they try to get money off of that, you know?
But you know
another
what?
way to get another avenue.
But what I would say, though, is that even back then when gangster rap really first hit, you still had cats talking about stuff that they really was not necessarily doing. We had a whole movie, CB4, that talked about
Chris Rock.
with Chris Rock, talking about how cats is not
MC
really...
Gusto?
Yeah, MC Gusto, right? And so, but along the way, some kind of switch got flipped to where it meant, okay, well, if I'm talking about smoking somebody, I'm going to really have to go smoke.
Exactly.
Right?
Somebody's now pulling my card.
And somewhere, and that's the sad part of it, you know, for somebody that's been in the game so long, you know, like I just DJed, you know, it's a funny story, you know, I just DJed the Lil Baby show the other day, right? Lil Baby was here, Glorilla, I was there, I was right, you know, so I was right backstage, Glorilla and all of them, you know what I mean? And it was funny because, you know, I was telling my son, I said, well, who you know that DJs for Run DMC and Lil Baby? Yeah, I've been on the whole time.
Yeah, that's a big time period too.
Yeah. So, you know, anyway, it's just a whole thing. But I just would say, Young Kun, when I was listening to music and hip hop, you know, in high school when it first came out, and early, you know, late middle school, I was just listening to a variety of things. But again, I loved the music at the time. It really was our thing. And it was, I mean, literally people said it was a fad, and to see it take over the world.
Where it's at right now.
It's so crazy.
The world, okay? Because the hip hop, the whole thing is just all over the world. I've traveled quite a bit myself, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, okay, so I'm going to name some town DJs, all right?
Yeah, of course. I know them all.
You tell me, when after I name them, you just tell me maybe a story or just something that stands out about them, okay?
Okay.
All right. K-Fox, DJ Nasty Ness.
Oh, man, that DJ Nasty Ness is an icon. Okay. That's, you know, we all looked up to Ness, and Ness really put the I was one of the hundreds and thousands of kids, I guess, that listened to Fresh Tracks, right? Okay. And so speaking of tapes, like we used to tape the radio. He would play all the hip hop songs on the radio. And we would
put the little cardboard in the little piece. And
then press we would try to get a new tape, right?
Okay,
and then you'd be pissed if somebody taped over your tape, right?
Exactly.
Because you're right. Like so, that's what would happen if you couldn't buy new tapes. You could just put a piece of tape over it and then re-record over it. So Ness is an icon, man. Not only as a DJ. I was telling my son the other day that I actually went to some of the all-city teen dances that him and Mix-a-Lot did back in the day. They used to be at the Seattle Center. They was massive.
Yeah, we used at the Center House.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it used to be at the Exhibition Hall.
Exhibition Hall? Okay.
Yeah. It used to be at the Exhibition Hall.
Man, okay. DJ Cutfather.
Man, Cutfather, rest in peace. That was
Rest
my
in
man.
peace, man.
You know what I'm saying? Cutfather was a real one. He moved up here from San Diego, him and his brother Primetime.
Yep.
And he really just kind of set the scene on fire, right? Because what Cutfather was really good at is he was obviously he was a great DJ and all of that, right? And he had a real mic presence, right?
Yeah.
And I would say, you know, as opposed to some of our other great DJs, Cutfather would really get on the mic and he would hit that Selassie to the side. And he just had he just brought his whole different culture, and it would be off the chain when he was DJing. Yeah. Rest in peace. That was
Rest
my
in
man.
peace, Cut, man. DJ Supreme.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, you know, I already know, man. Supreme is my guy. I just got my Supreme T-shirt off of Echo. Going up to Echo, he's got a Hip Hop 50 T-shirt. I mean, and that's so crazy because people are like, oh, I'm going to put the town on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Supreme's already put the town on, like, for DJs. From my point of view, like, this guy, like, he travels around the world as a real DJ, right? And, I mean, and that's pretty impressive, right? That's all you do is DJ, right? And so, as I mentioned in the story earlier, of course, I feel like I would be Kun Love even if that didn't happen, but Supreme was a real integral part of that because when I came home from college, I only had one Technique 1200, and Technique 1200s is they always costed $600, $700, and $800 each. Right, even back then, they always.
That's crazy.
Wow.
But they lasted forever, right?
Okay.
I got techniques that are 25, 30 years old, right? But at the time, you know, Preem always had the best of everything. His techniques was in cases, and so I used to go to my mom used to take me to Supreme. If I had a party coming up, I had to go. Call Supreme, hey, can I use your turntable this weekend, blah, blah, blah. My mom would take me over to Preem's house. I'd pick up the turntable, you know, and then I'd come back to my house. So, you know what, I had nothing but great things to talk about with Supreme. He definitely, he likes to say he's your favorite DJ's favorite DJ.
Yeah. Another icon, town icon.
Oh, yeah.
All right, DJ Super Sam.
Yeah, Super Sam, man. I was here today. He touched down from South Carolina.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it was funny because I think I met him at like a basketball game, and I had my clothing line out. It was called Big Fella, right?
Yeah.
And I think I gave him and Eddie Francis a T-shirt, right? And we just been really cool ever since. Been a real big supporter. We've been doing a lot of clubs together, right? And he always had a nice mic game too, right? Always had a good flavor and high energy doing parties. I always liked having him around at a party, right? And, you know, one of my favorite stories about him is he actually, one time I think, you know, I didn't have my hard drive had crashed or something, and he let me copy one of his hard drives.
Okay.
You know, I think that's commonplace now because the music is everywhere, but that was a big deal back then to let somebody copy your hard drive. But he gave me his hard drive and he let me copy it. And to this day, in fact, last night I was spinning, in fact, and I got one of his songs because the way that he put all the songs are in all caps.
Okay.
And before each one, since he was on the radio, he really needed to have it broke down by clean, dirty, instrumental, right? Because it can't be no mistakes when you're on the radio, right? You know, shout out to Cube 93
I was gonna say.
all the work that they did over the years. But and so I played. I was DJing last night, and I played "Rock the Boat," and on my hard drive, I could tell that that's one of Sam's songs that he actually that I copied from his hard drive. Well, you know, over the years you get different hard drives, you keep copying or upgrading, but the actual MP3 file, that MP3 file that I played, I know that I got that MP3 file from Super Sam.
Most def. All right, we're gonna go to these are a little bit more local, okay? DJ Nice Guy, Uncle Guy.
Oh yeah, that's like my brother, to tell the truth. I mean, so we grew up at Miller Community Center. Me, Guy, Furrow, my brother.
Shout out Furrow,
yeah, the whole ARS family. Like so, and what's so funny about, you know, Guy, for the new people, is that and it was probably always inside of him. I'm not saying because he's obviously nice, right? That's why he's DJ Nice Guy, right? He's obviously nice, right? But I don't think of Guy as a DJ, right? Because I think of Guy as a kid when we was younger, and he used to have this crazy.
This is my boy.
He used to have this crazy figure roll, and just the way we would hoop and play pickup, right? So Guy, for a lot of people that just know him as a DJ, he was actually a pretty good basketball player up in Miller Community Center. And then over the years, when they opened up the ARS record store, I think just being a curator of music, it's just a natural transition to become a DJ, right? But in my mind, again, he didn't really start out DJing. He started out as my people at the community center, and then as a tastemaker, a purveyor of music at ARS, because they were in fact the plug.
Yeah, they were.
Any type of music that came through here, especially
Columbia Plaza in Henderson.
And Tacoma Mall.
Tacoma Mall. Tacoma Mall.
They was doing their thing, right? And so I think it was a natural progression. And what's dope about it is that he's actually really good. Yeah. And I'm gonna keep it real. When he first started, I was like, I wonder if he's gonna be good or not. He already had half the battle, right? Because he had all the music. And you got to think, he started DJing prior to the MP3 era. It wasn't no hard drives to copy, but he still had all the CDs. Yeah. So he had every song you could ever need, right? So that's kind of like half the battle. But the other part about DJing is knowing what to play and when to play it. Exactly. Right? For the crowd. And I was, like I said, it was always probably inside of him because he was always, a very entertaining and outgoing and just, he was the man, even in high school, right? So it's not a huge leap for him to become DJ Nice Guy. Yeah, most right. So I'm pleasantly pleased with the evolution, if you will, of DJ Nice Guy. He is the man. And what kills me, right, is that when you have it doesn't kill you, but it's new people, right, where they only know maybe the last 50. They really feel like they know God, right? Because I've known God for 15 years, and I'm like, okay, right?
God,
but they've only known him. Well, they've only known him as DJ Guy. Like they don't even know him from the ARS barbecues, this and that, right? Maybe they know him a decade. So they never even really knew about ARS and all the other stuff he did. But I'm sure people say that about me too. So it's all good.
So we're gonna go to this next one, right. DJ D-Dox.
Yeah, D-Dox, so he kind of came up under the whole ARS fam, from my point of view, right? And then he was able to kind of transcend that. And I think from my point of view, he was DJing with those guys, and then he just took his whole game to another level, right? And was able to transcend into the clubs, right? And really be out here. And he just he was able to kind of garner his own demographic, right, which was, I would say, and this is not a diss or anything, but he's got like a working class demographic, like cats that work hard and they want to play hard, and they come to see Dox and they go drink and have a great time, right? And Dox is going to make sure that they have a great time because he's always pulling out classics. He's really good at mixing and blending, and one of the things I really like about Dox is that he's always got the best equipment, right? Like, so he's one of these guys that really invests in equipment, right? I was at an event with him not too long ago. He's got the best speakers. He always brings his own, that's another thing that I really like about Dox, especially DJing with Dox, is because oftentimes I'm a little too lazy to bring my own monitor, but Dox will bring his speakers that go out here to the crowd, but he also brings a monitor, and I think that's so he can really be able to mix with precision, right? So he can hear, right? And so, that always makes my job easier. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad Dox brought a monitor. So yeah, those are the great things I like about Dox. I think, again, he's got a real connection with his people, and I'm most certainly one of those people. But then he invested in himself and his equipment and his brand. He reminds me of myself with, because like I said, I always branded myself. I had posters. He's got his D-Dox chain and he's got all his pages and, so yeah, he's really just out in front and always promoting himself. And I think that's, not half the battle, even more than half the battle sometimes. It's really just having confidence in yourself and your brand and building your brand and just like, look what, It's me, right? And he does a great job at that.
That's another message. You know, you are the brand.
Yeah. At all times.
Absolutely.
At all times.
So we got one more. We got one more before we move on.
Okay.
DJ Peg.
DJ Peg, man. I like DJ Peg. And I actually send a lot of referrals to DJ Peg when on the off chance that he's available. And speaking of branding yourself, I think that DJ Peg kind of came into DJing late, to tell the truth, right? He was not like a young DJ, and years ago he just was at the party. Right, and so and that's okay. That's hanging out. No, but it's okay. You know what I mean? Everybody comes into this game at a different, chance. You know what I'm saying? A different angle. But what I would say about Peg is, again, he's another one of these guys that's great at branding himself. He does his own graphics, right? And I would say that while they're not super intricate, whatever graphics, they both certainly are they tell his story, right? And it's very unique. When it's a Peg party, like his brand speaks to itself, right? And so he's got his Peg. Then he's been doing, and he's very consistent. Peg has been doing this mixtapes, right? His mixtape or mix CD for years. Like literally, I feel like he's got a decade of, and he always comes out when number whatever 100 is such and such, right? Like, so he's got a lot of issues out there. He's always doing a party. He's not waiting for somebody to put him on. Peg is the type of person where he's going to some venue, like right now he's at the Bimbo Room out in West Seattle or something, right?
He's at the Bimbo Room.
No, well, it's BENBOW. It's not Bimbo. Nah.
You just want to clarify that, everybody.
Get your mind out the gutter. Jeez.
Hey, I was about to say, Kun, what time is this Bimbo Room open?
No, but Peg has always got something going on, man, and so I call him, but he always picks up my call. And, one of the things that really solidified me and Peg, I tell people this all the time, is once you go on a road trip with somebody, right, and you're actually in the car, it's just you and them, and you're talking and this and that. Me and Peg went on like 2 different road trips together, where I was like, okay, I'm going out of town, and I'm getting paid all this money to do this party, but, and it's enough money to where I could bring somebody and actually pay them and make it worth their time to come too. Right, so that's the benefit of being the Northwest icon, right? I think I took Peg to a party in Vancouver, right? He tells people this story how we went to Vancouver and we did the party, and the party was rocking, and Peg did his thing, right? So I think it was a situation where we had 2 DJs, so Peg was downstairs and I was upstairs. He did his thing, we rocked out. But then when we got back to the hotel, I was like, yo, Peg, we out of here, like 6 a.m., because I got to get back to work. Right? And he was like, you sure? And I was like, no, like literally 5:58. I was like, yo, let's go. And we was on the road back up north, and I was at work the next day.
Most def. So I want to go back. So the most iconic parties that I would like to say is these Virgo parties.
Right.
That everybody talks about, man. Everybody's got a story about these Virgo parties, man.
The Virgo parties.
Man, when did the first Virgo party start, and how did that come to mind?
Right.
So the first Virgo party was in like the fall of 1992, I believe. At it was at Crystal Franklin's house over in the CD, right? And we just all got together, and somebody had some food stamps, and we got some meat, and it was just like we had a party, and the party was so off the chain. The SPD came, and they had the riot police, and it was like, yo,
they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, because it was so cracking. I mean, everybody was there, and so then from there on out, we was like, all right, well, next year we got to have a venue, right? And then and then just every year it just got bigger and bigger. We had them, at these different spots. And then I think what really took the Virgo was already a massive party, right? Because there's a lot of Virgos, right? And the way we was able to scale that is we had a lot of things. We was the ones that kind of, at least around here, first really took the whole concept of like the birthday flyer and all of that, like celebrate your birthday.
So is that how it came about? I mean, that's how it got the name.
Well, no. The reason why it became a Virgo party is that me and my brother Toon are 2 years and 2 days apart. So we've always celebrated our birthday together our entire life.
Okay.
Right? And then when you add in my man, Jeff Staten, his birthday was, so it was about 4 Virgos, and we was having our own party. And
was that Paul Carter?
No, Paul and those guys, like, they helped out over time, but they didn't come in till like 10 years later.
Okay.
Right? Like, so, yeah, that was, you know, shout out
So you
to
guys are Virgos, and you're like, it's Virgo season. We're having a Virgo party.
Yeah, but we was doing it for a long time. Like I said, it's from 92, right? And I met, you know, like Paul and my whole crew, that they came in the early 2000s.
Imani,
that's
Jamar
like
Jones.
that's
Ghetto
like,
Prez.
Yeah, so me and G Prez, we got the same birthday, and so I added G Prez like in 1997 is when he came to the Virgo party. But like I said, we had already had 5 of them without him.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And it was already the biggest party in the city. And then when he came on, it took it to another level. And I guess what I would say, one of the reasons why the Virgo party just became so iconic is that we really invested into the party. And then we had iconic venues, right? Like, so at the time, nobody had really done like the train station, right? In our generation,
right here off of Jackson, right?
I'm gonna need somebody to do a Scorpio party,
right?
Okay.
I've been waiting for you guys to bring it back to that train station.
Well, you know what? It just, you know, I mean, it's kind of
Kun
like
said he's looking out for the next off camera. We talked about it. He said he wants somebody, you know, to come up and take that over.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess not necessarily take it over. I'm just pointing it out, right? Like, so we did parties like who else has done a party at the Seahawk Stadium?
I need Scorpio party.
Exactly.
Right? That's what I'm saying. And we had a party at the aquarium. You know what I'm saying? Like 1,500
The aquarium
people.
down at the waterfront?
Yeah. We rented out the whole
That's
thing.
nice.
And I guess what I'm saying is that caliber of event.
Okay.
The city has not really seen those caliber of events since I stopped doing them, right? Wow. And so we've done a scale down. We still do the Virgo. We had it at the Esquire Club. And it's more friends and family, so we still do it 200-300 people. But that's a fraction. You know, it's a shell of what it was like at the height of the Virgo. You know, like 2008, 2009. Maybe even 2011, you know, we was having, you know, we've had 2,000 people sold 2,000 tickets at Ticketmaster.
Wow.
Right? And so that's not, you know, that's not no small feat, you know. So cats have a party at Supernova or whatever the hottest club is, even Q or one of these clubs that's out now. What is that? Is that 700 people? 600 maybe at the most, right?
Yeah, probably like 5.
We're gonna get a clip. We're gonna get a clip of the party in here.
I mean, we will eventually, but I guess what I'm saying is, who is doing a caliber of event with 2,000
like
people
back
there
then,
at a premiere? Like that's what I'm saying. I mean, it takes those is $50,000 and $60,000 events, right?
Wow.
And I guess that's what I'm saying is, when is somebody from the city gonna say, you know what, we've done all of these small clubs, let's do something massive that will bring the entire region out, right? And that's why you had half of Portland like, yo, we got to be up to the Virgo, right? Because it's at the Seahawks Stadium, and we're on the Jumbotron. I mean, who does that? You know what I mean?
Wow.
So that's how the Virgo started out, and you know, but again, as you get older and you have more risk and you own more things and you don't want to get sued and your circle gets smaller. I'm not, you know, what happened was, you know, at the height of the Virgo, I started looking out. And you're looking at the risk, you know, the amount of insurance you got to have and everything else, and the amount of money that's on the line. And you say to yourself, you know, is this really worth it? As you look out in the crowd, it's 1,000, 2,000 people there. But over the years, I started knowing personally less and less of them, because people was growing up. They got kids now. They're not really going out as much anymore. And yes, new people filled that in, but I didn't have the same relationship with those people. At the height of the Virgo, you know, I could look out and it might be 1,600 people, but I knew a lot of them. And if something, I'm just saying, if something happened, you know, I could get on the mic and I could say, yo, hey, James, you know, stop that. Right? Because I knew those people. I say, James, come on, you know, work that out, right? I could speak to people. But then when you look out and there's 2,000 people there and you really don't know them all, that's when it kind of becomes scary. Like,
and people are different.
Yeah, people are different. There's a lot more shooters now.
That's crazy.
You know, we had our share of fights, but fights is one thing. You know, people can come back from a fight.
Exactly.
But there's nobody. They're not coming back from those hot ones, right? So
I mean, it's something. It's really getting crazy.
So that's what I would say is that, you know, who's next, right? Like I did it. We did it for a long time. Every venue that you would want to ever have, from the convention center. We had our birthday party at the convention center, the bridge over the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh.
Yeah, we rented that out. We did the aquarium before, not Benaroya Hall, but McCall Hall, Exhibition Hall. We did the Pier 66 down there. We did the aquarium,
nice,
right? We did the Seahawks Stadium twice. I mean,
some beautiful
venues.
venues.
Those is all the time. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when is somebody else going to step up and do something amazing?
That's a message.
Yeah, like, I'm not even an athlete. I'm just a guy from the CD. Yeah. You know, I didn't have a bag. Like, we actually had to go out and sell those tickets. And that's why it was a Seattle party. It'd be different if I just had, you know, the money and I just was writing a check. I didn't have that kind of money.
And let's just think about that too, because this is all before social media.
Yeah.
Like, now we have social media where we can do a bunch of marketing and being
flyer and cars.
This is some work.
Yeah, that was work to sell 2,000 tickets. It's a lot of work. Yeah. And I can see why some people would say, you know what, I don't want to do all of that. I'm gonna just have my party down here at Voot, right?
But you know, there's something to that too. Even when you guys were doing it that way, the energy.
Yeah.
You know, the energy behind it was a little bit more.
Well, the other thing I would say with the Virgo party, and since you brought it, like, is that, you know, before the internet, it was a lot easier to get people to work together. Right? Yep. So, to be clear, for the listeners out there, I didn't sell 2,000 tickets to the Virgo party.
It was a community.
Right, it was a community thing, right? So Furl and Guy and ARS, they sold a lot of tickets. Yeah. You know, Earl Cutting Styles, he used to sell a lot of tickets. So the community sold a lot of tickets. I just was the facilitator and the driving force behind it. But we collectively would sell out these huge venues. And also, I think that a lot of people that was involved took pride in the fact that we was in Seahawks Stadium.
Right.
And they didn't really want nothing to happen up in there. Right. So they protected us. Right. And I just don't see some of that happening these days.
It's a different time.
It's a different era.
It's a different time, for sure.
So let me talk about your nonprofit organization, Services of Lifestyle.
Right.
Founded in 2016. How did that come to be?
You know what? So I've been a community servant my entire life. My mom always encouraged me to give back and be in a community. Yeah. And so we was doing a lot of things. We did like the All-City Teen Dance in 2009, right? We did, that was a huge just community-driven effort. But and then I remember we bought out the theater to see Red Tails at South Center one time, right? And I just did like super crowdfunding, just like, because I'm Kun Love, right? So I would just say, yo, I'm trying to buy out the theater and take all the kids to see Red Tails, you know, at South Center, right? And I need people to either give me $15 or $30.
Yeah.
And I just put on my Facebook, people like, Kun, I got 30. I go meet them, get the 30 from them, right? And that was a good look, right? So I was able to raise like $3,000, no problem. Let's go, you know. Or when we was doing the All-City Teen Dance, people would donate for this or that. But we never had a financial vehicle. I was putting that money in my personal account, and then I had to write the check or use the credit card to buy the tickets at the theater. Yeah. And then what about excess money? You know, how do you even get that back to the community, right? If people have given, you know, if you collected $3,500, but you only spent $3,000 on renting out the theater, what do you do with the other $500? You try to ride around to see who, you know what I mean? So you really need an organization to hold the money and to be able to just facilitate the good work. And so in 2016, I started, 100 Black Parents, and I just really said, okay, it's time to really take the game to the next level in terms of doing stuff right, right? Because we have a lot of people that do that, right? Where they have a coat drive. It's a lot of people in community that's doing really good community work, but they don't necessarily have an organization.
You
can't write them no check. Like, so, you know, you see them, like, oh, man, I love what you're doing, man. Here, I want to write you a check for $300 so you can go and buy some coats and, you know, and get those out. Yeah. But then what happens? You got to get the check to you, and then you got to put it in your account. It's, you know, and that's not income.
There's a proper way to do things.
So how do you manage that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's why I started the nonprofit. And then and then the rest is kind of history with that is being able to once you have a vehicle, and then you can get funding, right, to do the work, right? Like, so within, I think, 2017, we got a grant from King County and the Seattle Foundation to do the Herb Vote, where we were out, you know, registering people to vote and getting people actually to the polls, right? But you have to have the 501c3 to do that.
Correct.
Yeah. So that was kind of the thought process around why I started the nonprofit.
Nice, man. So, the Bubblin brown sugar.
Yeah.
What is your involvement in that?
So we took over Bubblin Brown Sugar in 2000, and I think that was another reason why we needed the nonprofit. Like, where do we put the money at? Yeah. Right. So I've been a part of Bubblin Brown Sugar at Garfield High School since the 80s. I went to Garfield. And so I went to Bubblin Brown Sugar when I was in high school, 85, 86, 87. And then I came back.
Sorry to interject, but for our viewers that don't know, can you let them know what the Bubblin Brown Sugar is?
So Bubblin Brown Sugar is an event that happens at Garfield High School, and it was started in the late 70s, so it's way before my time. And it's a high school dance competition where we have high schoolers coming out and kind of battling each other, and so you have the different teams.
Wow, it's a dance-off.
And
big though.
Yeah, and there's a trophy and all of that, and so it transcends many generations.
And no age limit, right? There's no age limit or anything?
I didn't know about this.
Well, now so it's got many iterations, right? In 1979, it was strictly high school.
Strictly high school,
and you had to be in a high school team.
Gotcha.
And then over the years, there's exhibition teams. And then you've got, and now, you know, all the way up to currently, you've got other exhibition teams. You've got the throwbacks, which are, then you've got the new generation throwbacks, right? Because you have all these people that are in different age groups. And I think the throwbacks are 40 and up. And then the new generation throwbacks is like 25 to like 35, and then you got the actual high school student. So it's a true intergenerational affair. And so, we brought that back. It fell off, and they weren't doing it anymore, and we revived it, and we turned it into a fundraiser for 100 Black parents, and we used that money to the proceeds from 100 Black parents to serve Black families and scholarships at Garfield High School.
That's nice. So Bubblin Brown Sugar, you guys got kids or you're interested? You got some moves?
Yeah, it's going to be April 27th, 2024 at
Bubblin Brown
Garfield
Sugar.
High School. Yeah.
So this is a little bit off the subject, but I wanted to ask you since you're here. So Cube 93 had the Summer Jam for many, many years.
Right.
Okay. What could we do to make the Summer Jam something local by people within the community and hold it maybe like at the amphitheater at Seward Park?
Oh, man, that's like a trick question. I mean, so I guess what I would say, the part behind Summer Jam, right, and what a lot of people fail to realize, and I didn't work at Cube, but I just know from working at Def Jam, many of the artists that were coming to Summer Jam were there on a promo tour. So that's something that used to happen in the industry. Artists used to go out on the road, and they would have these reduced fee kind of concerts, right? But now the industry has changed. You only see your favorite artists when they come to Climate Pledge, and the tickets is $80, and that's the official tour. Summer Jam, Cube 93 was able to bring all of these artists who come to the Northwest, and they might have paid for maybe the headliner. But a lot of the other artists that
they weren't paying these artists.
No, I mean, well, they might just be covering the travel, right? But they wasn't paying them like a full show. Because it was a promotional thing for the radio station. Right? And so that's why you could get tickets to Summer Jam. How are you getting tickets for Summer Jam for $9.99?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah,
All of those artists, right? It would be 1999.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Think about that, man. You got Nelly. He was one of the hottest artists in the country at the time.
I mean, they had Twista, Aaliyah.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
Man.
You know what's crazy is you got on the cut on the radio, and then Cube 93 was just gone.
Well, I mean,
the only
so
radio
weird.
station we had.
Right. I was like, what happened? Cube just disappeared.
There's a lot of market forces behind that, and the industry has changed. Everybody's streaming now. I mean, they're not getting the money that they used to, right? So you got to think at the end of the day.
I turned it on, it was all sports. And I was like, what happened to Cube?
I think
what
Eric
happened
Powers
to Cube
sold
was,
it to iHeart, didn't he?
Well, I guess you really got to look at it differently, right? Mm-hmm. People that say that, like what you just said, Ebony, you're like, hey, what happened to Cube?
Yeah.
These are people that most likely haven't listened to Cube in years.
That you're right, because I was on YouTube.
Yeah, they
I had
on YouTube, they on
Bluetooth
Spotify,
in the car, and I was like,
YouTube.
okay, that's what I'm listening to.
And so
Spotify.
And it's just like any other thing in the community, whether it's radio, big time, corporate, or even a small business. People drive through the hood and they be like, what happened to such and such?
Right.
And it's like, well, bro, when's the last time you went to that business? And for us not to listen to the radio anymore, what
it's
do we
gonna fade
expect?
away.
And so that's really kind of what happened with that is the business model doesn't make sense. Everybody's on Spotify, Tidal, or streaming service, YouTube, radio, whatever it is, Pandora, right? And so the entire industry has changed. So to get back to your question, though, of how do you bring something like that together, it's very difficult to have. I think what you do is you do it with sponsorship somehow, because you need to have the money to get the headliner, right? And because you need a headliner, and a good headliner is several, thousands of dollars, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000.
Hey man, I had an epiphany, man.
Yeah.
A Kun Love Summer Jam.
Like you guys want to give me something else to do.
Am I speaking it into existence?
You're like they gonna give me
annual,
something
man.
else.
Hey, if anybody could do it, I know Kun could do it.
Well, you know what? I'm actually good on that. You know what I'm saying? And I do want to support other people that's doing that. So one of the guys that is trying to do something like that and needs some help, right, from the community, he just brought. Last summer, in fact, he had Angie Stone out at Jenkins Park.
I was there. Yeah.
Right?
That was a good show.
And so we are having some of these kind of community shows. And so what people need to do is to support what we do have, right? And so that's one of my kind of pet peeves when I'm on these kinds of things, where I hear from people that say, "Oh man, we don't have nothing." I said, "Man, they just had Guapoli at whatchamacallit at Emoji Fest."
Guapoli?
Yeah, the one she said sing that song "Closer to My Dreams."
Okay.
Oh, Gail Pelly.
Yeah. So however you
I don't know how to
Hold on, man.
pronounce it.
Hey, Kun said Guapoli. We can run with Guapoli.
I mean, that's what I know when he said, because that's my song, that's my cut.
Yeah. Well, so the point is, right, and that's shout out to everybody at Emoji Fest, is that we do in fact have some of these vehicles that are happening in our city, in our parks, right, and people are trying to do them. What's his name? The bull, Charles Davis from Charles Davis Barbecue. Okay. Last summer he brought out Angie Stone. And it was not. I mean, it was cool. It was a great event, but
great environment too. Good vibe.
Yeah, but it wasn't that well attended. And the same people that say, "Oh man, we should. How come we don't have nothing? How come we don't have an Angie Stone in the park?" Well, guess what? We did, and you didn't come.
And you didn't
right?
support.
And so what we need to do, right, to answer your question. Is I think that anybody that says that, the moment that it pops in your mind, how come we don't have that? Do a deep search, or you can even inbox me and say, "Kun, do we got something like this?" And I will tell you, in fact, we do.
Most
Yeah.
Well, before we're getting close on time, before we get, the show ends, I would like for you to share about your eyewear.
Oh, yeah. So these glasses, me and my brother Toon, shout out to my brother Toon, Northwest Premium Eyewear. This is a prototype frame of our frame line. It's called the Heems, named after, inspired by one of my good friends, Raheem, out in Philadelphia. And so, we made these from scratch. And so, you can look us up on Facebook as Northwest Premium Eyewear. My brother is also a dispensing optician. He's able to, a lot of people see me with my frames on, always got some different sunglasses on, and he can put your prescription in almost anything, right? So, Yeah, so this is just one of the things. I'm a creator, right? I see something, and I'm like, well, man, I could do that, and I end up doing it.
Yeah, Heems, Heems.
Let me get
Heems Eyewear.
Let me get these two more aspects I wanted to talk about. Little Big Fella.
Yeah, this is my comic book, man. It's so crazy. I'm actually working on issue 2 and 3 right now. We're doing a double issue that's going to come out most likely in February. They're coloring up right now, but this is a great issue.
And how much is that, and where can they find that at?
Oh, you can go on littlebigfella.com, LILBIGFELLA.com, and you can pick up the comic book. We also do special rates. Like, I'm really just interested in getting them out to kids and in libraries and all of that, right? So, and it's not just a comic book. One of the things you guys can see, I'm going to just briefly show this, but one of the coaches gets beat up by the police.
Wow.
So it's really a great discussion book to kind of talk about, society now.
Yep.
Right.
So this is the kind of stuff I want to work on. I don't necessarily want to do a concert in the park, right?
He said, I've been there, did that.
Yeah, we did that. You know what I mean? But this is something. This is about impacting the next generation and giving us the tools to be able to communicate and be great. I feel like this is the next level for a person like me. I want to focus on my books and being healthy.
Yeah, most definitely. Good thing you brought that up. Your lifestyle changes, man.
Yeah, that's funny.
Went from big fella to in shape fella, man. You know what I'm saying? Kun, when I haven't seen you for a while, and then when I just recently seen you at that concert, I was like, Kun, man, what did I say, man? You look good, man. Man, I said, man, and you were glowing, man. And I was like, man, come on now, because that inspires me, because it says you were a diabetic. You became a diabetic back in 2010, right?
Yeah. That was, I was.
And at your highest, you were 460 pounds.
Wow. My highest, I was about 420.
420?
Yeah.
Okay. You started taking metformin.
Yeah.
And then something said, hey, man, we got to nip this in the butt. And so you started walking for an hour a day for 242 days.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so I was taking, at the height of my diabetes, I had an A1C of 12, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I was taking 5 metformins a day, which is the most you can take.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was taking a glipizide, which is another diabetes medicine.
I don't like either of those.
And the next level for me, because I had yet changed my lifestyle, I was still eating out, eating crazy, popping bottles, all of that, just kind of still living the Kun-Love lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, the next level for that would have been insulin. And I was like, okay, well, I got to change my life. And so what happened was I wasn't necessarily ready to change. I said, okay, when I turn 50, I would change, right? But then when I turned 50, it was in over the holidays, so I was like, I'm not going to change over the holidays. So I still pop bottles and everything. And then that year, January 4th, 2021, I woke up that morning and was like, today's the day I'm going to change my life. And I walked literally from January 4th to, I think it was August 27th. It was 242 days. And over that period of time, I lost an additional 70 pounds.
Come on,
I reversed I put my diabetes in remission with A1C of 5.4. Right, and that's, most healthy people don't even have that kind of A1C, right? And so my doctor took me off my meds on June 26, 2021, and I've been I've been diabetes free for over 2.5 years now, and so I just really want to, part of my new mission, if you will, is to remind people that diabetes is especially type 2 diabetes is something that we can beat. We don't have to be sick. We don't have to take the pills, right? And the problem with society right now and the pharmaceuticals and the commercials and everything, all you hear about is how you can not change. And all you have to do is take this medicine.
This new medicine.
Yeah, fill in the blank, whether it's Ozempic now, right? Ozempic is the new one, right? But you got Trulicity, you got all these different medicines. And they always say, oh, you can just, if you just do this, you won't have to. But really, you can do all of that with diet and exercise. And so I came up with this whole tagline, health is the real bag.
Yeah, it is. Most definitely it is.
Yeah, you know, and just briefly, I know we got to go, but this is, you know, really important to me. Health is the real bag because one of the things I say in my talks when I go out and talk to people about diabetes is that motivation, right? We all are on Instagram. We see motivation. Anything can get you motivated, right? And motivation for some people can last a day or maybe even a month. But only true dedication and conviction and consistency can get you to where you want to be, right?
Correct.
And so what happened with me is I was one of these people, January, motivated, and I was able to get all the way almost to March. But then, you know, when I was the rainstorms and I just couldn't take it anymore, but I had to figure out a way to keep going. And for me, I had to kind of trick my mind into thinking that was some money for me right there. Because I already know that, like, so if somebody, so I was walking an hour a day.
What were some of the food products that you currently use, and what are some of the you can suggest to the viewers?
Well, you know what? I think so. Some of the food, the thing. So first of all, I stay away from anybody and anything that deals in absolutes. Oh, I don't do any of this. I still eat almost everything that I used to eat. Okay. I just eat in moderation. I used to go to Dick's Burgers 2 times a week. I go to Dick's maybe once a quarter now. I used to eat pizzas, a whole pizza by myself with some breadsticks, and now I eat a slice of pizza and a salad, right? And so I've just, you know, I do intermittent fasting, and I just eat better. Right, but like again, I still have an ice cream every now and then. I'm done with excessiveness.
So it's the moderations.
Yeah, moderation most certainly.
Intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Okay, and just being consistent with it.
And walking.
I did walking, right? But I would say that you got to do something that works for you. Walking worked for me because I could do it at any time of the day or night. I didn't need anybody. It's free. I didn't need any special equipment. Right, but most certainly other people, they could do water aerobics, whatever it is, but you got to be consistent.
And when you're saying walking, are you walking at a fast pace, or are you gradually walking?
No, I walk at I call it a power walk.
Power walk, okay,
right?
So power walk.
Yeah, and so and only you know if you tried hard. Okay. Right, and so for me, a power walk is where I've got my heart rate up. Okay, and I most certainly I'm sweating.
Sweating. Yeah, there it is.
Right. Okay. And so, so you get some people that say, well, can I do 15,000 steps a day? And I said, but did you break a sweat?
Yeah,
you
walked
to the copy machine
I like
and
your
back.
slogan, I walked away from
Gym
diabetes.
Alert.
I seen you post that, and I thought that was so cool. He walked away from diabetes.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I like that too.
I liked it a lot.
I did. I walked away from diabetes, and it's a true story. And so, but again, it's really about being consistent.
Yeah, what I heard right there is change your mind. Change your life.
The mental aspect,
It just seems so cliche, right? But you know what I was saying? I keep saying, I tell my son this, but I talk to him a lot, and I told my son that the other day. A reason, things are cliche is because they work.
Yeah, right? So I say like this, the way change your mind, change your life, but I always say it like this, is so simple. Right. It's difficult.
It really is. Right?
It's really simple, but because it's so simple, it's difficult.
Right.
Like,
well, one of the things that happens to me all the time, right, is people call me and they say, well, Kun, I read your story and I heard what you did, right? But they want to hear more, and I'm just like, it's really that simple. I really did, but it's so simple that it is hard. It's hard to walk every day for 242 days in a row, right? It's very simple, that the concept of going and walking, but it's very difficult to achieve
for people, to the consistency. Right? I mean, you can do it every day, but it's just so simple. It's difficult for some folks. Right.
So, the health. You did these health changes not only for you, but you did them for your family, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, that's a great thing to say. I wouldn't say I did that. I mean, I hate to say it like this, but I had little kids at a time, right? Like, so, I did it. Of course, in the end, I've done it for my family, right? But in reality, I did it because I want to live, and I want to be able to, I want to be able to retire. And I just, you don't see anybody that's 90 if they was 420 pounds at 50, right? I'm just doing the math, right? You're probably not going to make it that long, right? And so I've worked a long time, you know, and I'm looking forward to retirement, having money when I'm older, right? You know, I've saved and I've done well for myself. And what I'm not going to do is be one of these people that retires and then they be dead in 3 years, right? I'm trying to die of natural causes, right? And that's why I lost the weight. You know, I liked being big cunt. You know, I got the big body bends. I had a 7X mink coat, all of that, right? But I don't want to be sick, and I want to live. Right. And so I knew that I had to get rid of the diabetes. But that's why I lost the weight, and is because I want to live.
So you lost your father, James Salisbury, earlier this year in May, right?
Yeah.
Can you share how he impacted your life and what the things he taught you that will always stick with you?
Yeah, so my dad was he was a great photographer, right? And you know, one of the things that I've taken from him is being able to be able to capture and tell great stories via photography. Okay. You know, and so, you know, me and my mom and my dad, they had separated when we was young. Yeah. You know, and so and we grew up with my mom here, and my dad was across the country. Okay. And he came and visited every now and then. You know, but we had a real reconnection when I went to Elizabeth City State University. He's the reason why I went there. Right, he was a second generation person that graduated of that institution. Okay. And I was a third generation, and now my daughter, Alma, graduated from there in 2021, right? And so
you got a BS in...
My daughter got a BS in biology. And I got a bachelor's in computer science.
Computer science. Yeah. Nice, man.
Yeah, so yeah, my dad most certainly, man, I bless him for turning us on to Elizabeth City State University.
So, talking about your father, your mother.
Yeah.
So
Harriet Walden.
Your mother has one of the longest running black book clubs out of the Garfield.
Yeah. So my mom does a lot of stuff. She's a multi-hyphenate in her own right. But one of the things she does in her spare time, if you will, is she is a lifelong learner and lover of knowledge, and so she founded a book club many years ago, and it's been very consistent. It goes every week. She also had it during the pandemic online, and so they, they're reading a lot of different books in there, and she's able to convene community, and I think really it's a respite from all of the other work she does on the CPC and around community police work and all the other things she does.
Awesome, man. So, man, in closing, when it's all said and done, what is the legacy that you want to be remembered by?
Oh, man, you know what? I just want to be remembered that I was of service to other people, right?
Absolutely.
You know, and I just want to be of service and that I, you know, that I helped people.
Yeah.
Right. And I want, you know, I told somebody the other day, like, I want them, because they got a promotion at work and I had helped them earlier, and they were like, oh, thank you. And I said, well, you don't have to thank me. Make sure that you pass it on to somebody else, right? And I kind of see that as my role now, is to just speak life into other people, whatever they're doing. How can I help? How can I support, right? And how can I help them build, right? Because I'm good. I'm Gucci. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's what I want my legacy to be, that I had, you know, products or tools and just an awareness that I was able to be of service to my community. And I've done that in a lot of different ways.
Yes, you have.
Yes,
most
you have,
definitely.
absolutely. I'm right there with you. I want to do that philanthropy work. I love it. I love it.
Are we going to see another run at Office anytime soon?
I don't know. You know, I mean, I'm not ruling it out. I just would say it's not going to be anytime soon because I'm retiring in 887 days.
Yeah. Salute, man.
Yeah, thank you. And so
time to relax, chill, see the world.
Yeah, most certainly. I want to relax and chill, see the world, and then, you know, maybe come back. Maybe I'll still be young enough to do something like that. But what I'm not going to do is not go to work so I can run for office. Yeah. Right. And what I found is that I can be just as impactful to my community.
Most definitely.
Specifically by not being in office, right? And so the real question is, what is your, what political or legislative agenda do you want to achieve by running for office, and if you really truly can't achieve that by lobbying and doing the work outside of office, then you most certainly should run, right? But a lot of the work and the things that you truly want to achieve, whether it's getting a bill passed, tax reform, whatever that is, you most certainly can use your current position in the community to leverage, to get that work done. And that's what I've been doing.
Well, there it is, man. Hey, I just want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to interview you, man. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Man, most definitely. Man, Seattle, Northwest. This is our very own DJ Kun Love.
Thank you. Thank you
All right,
so
y'all.
much.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
Most definitely.
One love.
And we're out of here.
We talking through the phone, I'ma make it right with everybody who done did me wrong. Look, them niggas trying me, gotta have it on you in my city, shit was slimy. I love these niggas, they was tripping right beside me, these bitches.